What's up, YouTube? This is Tom with Fresh Vintage. Today I'm wearing my Carlisle Chrysler Nationals hat because we're talking about Stellantis and some of the cuts I think they're going to end up making to some of their vehicles in the North American markets. I'm going to make a wild claim really early in the video here and say, after looking at the numbers and the data here that I want to show you, they're not just going to cut one or two Dodge vehicles, but I feel like they're going to cut and axe the entire Dodge lineup. Let me show you this data because I think once you see this, you'll agree. Let's dive in together right now. So let's take a look at what's on the screen here. The Stellantis CEO warns of tough decisions ahead, tough decisions in air quotes. And I'm like, where were you guys at? Who was making the decisions when you made the decision to build this stupid thing? But I digress. 2.3 billion euros. You see I have it highlighted here. That's 2.66 billion with a B, give or take, in the first half of the year. I mean, it's crazy amount of money they lost. But my first thought was not actually Dodge. I was like, they're just going to axe Chrysler. They're just going to get rid of these minivans. Nobody buys. Who buys minivans in the year 2025? But hold the phone. They actually brought back the Plymouth Voyager as the Chrysler Voyager. They did that because they wanted a cheap, affordable van. I don't know how affordable 39,000, 40 grand basically is, but they wanted a cheap people mover, and this is actually their way to do it. Believe it or not, the Pacifica plug-in hybrid, if memory serves correct, it's the fourth fastest best-selling plug-in hybrid electric vehicle in the United States. And they sell a ton of Pacificas, and if you don't believe that they sell a ton of Pacificas, big shout out to the Fastlane Car here. Really awesome site. If you haven't checked out their site and their YouTube channel, definitely go check out both. A lot of awesome content here. Chrysler sold more than 100,000 Pacifica minivans, and they have the numbers here to back it up. 107,000 plus minivans in the last 12 months of 2024 kind of thing. And you can see the Odyssey is nipping on its heels here. But they sum up Chrysler's issue with this van in one sentence so perfectly. It's newer, fresher minivans are dragging down Chrysler's aging minivan. You've seen this design everywhere. It's been that same shape for many, many years, probably the last 5 years, maybe 10 years. That being said, you've seen this thing everywhere. You've seen it in the Walmart parking lot. You've seen it at your grandmother's house. She might drive one. You've seen it in the corporate America parking lot where the younger father wanted to buy an SUV, but they wanted something cheap, and they picked one of these up a couple years old and got it for a really, really good price. They sell a ton of these, and you can see these numbers don't lie. I mean, they sold even more in 2023. You see the sales percentage loss there, but overall, I thought that they would just dump this brand and be done with it just to trim expenses, but this is actually kind of their bread and butter. Let's jump over to the Ram truck lineup because the Chrysler vans are their bread and butter, and you obviously know that their Ram trucks and vans are their bread and butter. They're as American as apple pie. When I think of trucks in the US, I think of F-150, I think of Silverado, and I definitely think of the Ram lineup. If you look through here, I struggle to see where they would get rid of any of this or touch any of it because they sell so many of these. I'm going to show you that data in a second here, but I mean, maybe this ProMaster EV, I don't know who's buying these things at 78,000 a pop, but honestly, they probably won't touch any of this. And just to prove my point, the FastlaneTruck.com, another awesome site, check them out and their YouTube channel. GM trucks, Ford's, F-Series, blah, blah, blah. But you see the numbers I have highlighted here. They sold almost as many Ram trucks and vans in Q4 as they did minivans the entire last year. So you can see the numbers that they sold here in the last year and then the year before, and definitely had a sales slip. They've struggled a little bit with their Ram 2500, but overall, this has been a really, really solid. This is probably their number one bread and butter, and I'm going to say that the actual vans, the Chrysler lineup, is their number two bread and butter in North America. It gets a little hairy when you get into the Jeep line, and what I mean is, you look at this lineup, the Compass, it's never really done anything for me. It's just a cheap little four-door thing to get people around town. The Gladiator's obviously very iconic, and you know as well as I do, guys gleefully walk out of the Jeep dealer paying well over 50 grand in some cases for the Rubicon package, so to speak. That thing's not going anywhere. I'm not sure who's buying this Wrangler 4xe. They're not going to touch the Wrangler ever. The Grand Cherokee 4xe, I'm not sure who's buying that thing, especially at 60 grand and starting up, up from there. The base Grand Cherokee, 36,000 is not bad. They'll probably keep that. Where I think they're going to make cuts in the Jeep lineup, if they make any cuts at all, but I'm pretty sure, I feel pretty comfortable saying these three here, the Wagoneer, the Grand Wagoneer, and then the Wagoneer. I make that note because if you look at Beamer Life, big shout out to them for the information here. Slowest selling vehicles, believe it or not, my laugh here, the Grand Wagoneer, they only sold 1,034 of these. Granted, it was at a price point, a ticket average selling of 109,000. That's crazy to think that they're out there selling this, probably this one here, one of the trim levels on this guy, at an average ticket of 109,000. So you have to come back over here and look at this. I mean, are they making 5 grand, 7 grand, whatever the number is on these, but they're selling 100,000 of them. Then you flip that kind of upside down on its head and you say, I'm only selling 1,000 of these, but am I making 15, 25 grand? I don't know what the number is, but they're probably making pretty good money at that price point selling these things. My guess is they probably come in here and axe and get rid of at least one of these. And if nothing else, they probably just eliminate most of the trim levels. So you kind of like a base and then like a super luxury, especially knowing that they're selling at that $109,000 price point. But let me show you, if you don't believe me there, let me show you the 2024 prices, because these 2025 prices are crazy. But look at these prices as they change them to 2024. These are real prices from last year. I mean, if you thought that the 2025 ones were like, I don't know who's buying these things, but that's why I say that they're probably going to axe. I'm guessing they get rid of at least one of these, and if they don't, they probably chop a lot of the trims out of these to offer just a few, like 1 or 2 options or something. Now that we've looked at Jeep, let's look at Dodge, because I've talked about Chrysler, I've talked about Ram. Remember, it's not Dodge anymore. They've rebranded it to Ram. So we have Chrysler, Ram, and Jeep. The only thing left in North America other than like Fiat or Alfa Romeo, and nobody's buying those things in the US, let's be honest. The only other American brand that we all know is Dodge. And I'm just going to show you, this is it. I'm not hiding anything. There's no filters on. You get the Charger, the Hornet, and the Durango. And just to belabor the point, there they are right there. If I click on Ram Trucks, it actually takes me back to this page. So let's take a look at these guys, because let's start at the bottom. When you think about muscle and performance and the Chargers and Challengers of yesterday, this is all you have in the year 2025 is this Charger right now. And it starts at $59,000. And I'm just going to show you, I started looking around. Let me go back up to the top here. I just threw in my zip code and I said, let's see how many of these things are for sale on Auto Trader. I mean, I'm just going to scroll and look into the camera just for the ridiculousness of it. As I keep scrolling on the screen, look at how many of these things are for sale. And let's just stop randomly. 11 miles, 12 miles, 11 miles. Let's just go a little bit more. Ooh, that one has 522 miles, 0 miles. I mean, who's buying? Nobody is buying these things, period, start to finish. This was a big old fail in my book, and a lot of performance-minded individuals from the Dodge brand, they fled in droves with this thing. But let's flip the other side. So I'm guessing this thing's gone. I'd be shocked if this thing is gone in a year or two. But let's flip. Let's go from performance, so to speak, to the everyday, like, value or economy car. Let's talk about the Hornet. When you look at this Hornet, it starts at $31,000, and I was like, okay, how many did they sell? And big shout out to moparinsiders.com here for the information. This says that they had, where is it here? They had a supply of 428 days. So they were selling 1,536, give or take, and that was September of 2024. So just, to put some dates in the video here, but they had 14,596 in inventory and 428 days supply at the time of writing. I mean, that's over a year. It's not a year and a half, but it's definitely over a year supply sitting on dealer floors and dealer lots right now. Looking at that, just to add some emphasis, here's goodcarbadcar.net. They actually have numbers here of, look at this number, 20,559. So last year, Stellantis in North America sold 20,559 of these Hornets in the US. And so I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, what's another four-door American-made little like runabout all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive SUV? And I was like, the Ford Escape. That is literally perfect. FordAuthority.com here, big shout out to them for the information. But let's look at how many Fords sold in the United States. Now, I say sit down. You're probably already sitting down for watching the video here, but the year 2024, they sold 146,859. So that's almost 7 times exactly the amount of Escapes they sold in the same calendar year that they sold the Hornets. So let's go back to the Dodge page. This thing, I'd be shocked if it's still around in a year or two. No one's buying it. Honestly, it's a EV and not a good EV. It's like a generation old technology. It's kind of a crummy EV. It's like 2017, 2018 technology level EV performance masquerading as a muscle car. And just to be frank, I know I've already been frank in the video, but just to be frank, they need to reverse engineer this thing, rip the electronics and battery out of it, stuff a Hellcat drivetrain in it, something supercharged, and beg the Dodge fans and the performance muscle guys to come back to the brand. But honestly, I'd be shocked if this thing's here. It's probably going to be gone in a year or so. That being said, you take the Hornet away and you take the Charger away, and what's left? I mean, I'm just to belabor the point. There's nothing else here. You look at the screen. I feel like this sounds like a crazy comparison, but I feel like I'm looking at Kmart from 5 or 10 years ago, where they had 5 stores left, and then they had 3 stores left, and then people were making YouTube videos about touring the last two, and then the last Kmart that was open in the United States. I kind of feel like we're here, and as you start looking back at everything we talked about, they're not going to get rid of this. They're not going to touch anything on the Ram lineup. Maybe they get rid of something in the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer, blah blah blah. But I feel like they're going to cut this entire brand. I mean, they did sell a fair bit. I think I looked it up. It was like 55 or 60,000 Durangos in the last 2024 year. But they've been known to, just as we saw earlier, they've been known to take a brand and just rebrand it. And I'm sure plenty of you guys remember the Chrysler Aspen, the Dodge Durango version, the Chrysler product. So, I mean, if this went away and became the Chrysler Durango or something, or maybe even the Ram Durango, because that actually sounds kind of cool and kind of tough sounding. If they did that, then boom, I mean, what's left of Dodge? There's literally nothing left. Anyway, these are my thoughts. Let me know where I got it right, where I got it wrong. Leave us a comment. Do you think they're actually going to get rid of Dodge as a brand? Are they going to go a different route, like maybe dump all the Alfa Romeo vehicles that they have in the United States, just ship them back out of the US and close all those dealers to try to help cut costs? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. If you're still this far in the video and you haven't seen the Carlisle Chrysler Nationals video I made, really awesome 80 plus acres of Mopar power. Definitely check it out. You'll find that link. It should pop out somewhere over in the corner of the screen here. But with that, we appreciate you watching. If you like classic cars, if you like muscle cars, if you like keeping your cars certified fresh vintage your channel, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Woo, it's Ricky Bobby. Hey, subscribe to Fresh Vintage. Woo, because if you ain't first, you're last.